December 2025. Japan's X-RISM telescope just dropped the first-ever X-ray image of 3I/ATLAS, and what it exposed straight up shatters everything scientists thought they knew about interstellar comets. This wasn't some faint glow or camera trick either. We're talking about a massive X-ray halo, nearly 400,000 kilometers wide, stretching almost the full distance from Earth to the Moon, with diffuse energy blasting out 3 million kilometers into space. And no, this is not reflected sunlight at all. This is raw, high-energy photon emission showing clear carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen spectral lines, confirmed across multiple instruments. MAXI on the ISS saw it. Archived ROSAT data backs it up, and the signal is so strong you can literally trace 3I/ATLAS moving across the X-ray sky from July through November like a glowing scar. Here's the part that makes scientists uncomfortable. Objects this small, moving this fast, should not produce X-ray halos like this. Solar-wind interactions can't explain emission zones 3 times wider than the sun itself. That excuse collapses instantly. Even worse, the halo isn't aligned with the solar wind at all. It's asymmetric, offset, and behaving nothing like standard charge exchange X-rays. That means something inside or around 3I/ATLAS is actively dumping energy into surrounding space at levels normally seen near black holes or neutron stars. Instruments designed to study cosmic monsters are lighting up over a comet-sized object. If you've been tracking this thing and wondering when weird officially crossed into physically impossible, this is that moment. Because comets do not light up the X-ray sky like this, and yet 3I/ATLAS just did. And once you look at the image itself, the problems multiply fast. X-RISM captured a bright central core, which is normal. High-energy solar photons slamming into dense gas near the nucleus can create localized X-rays. That part checks out. But everything surrounding that core? Completely off the rails. The X-ray glow explodes outward into a massive halo nearly 400,000 kilometers wide, and standard physics has no clean answer for it. That halo alone stretches the same distance from Earth to the Moon, and we're supposed to believe it's coming from a comet nucleus barely 5 to 10 kilometers wide. Let that sink in. That's an emission zone 40,000 times larger than the object creating it. And it still doesn't stop there. XRISM also detected a diffuse X-ray structure reaching nearly 3 million kilometers across, almost twice the diameter of the Sun. This is being generated by what's described as a frozen rock, warmed by sunlight, drifting in from interstellar space after millions of years in total darkness. A dormant visitor suddenly lighting up space with an X-ray footprint bigger than our star. That's not just strange, that's off the chart. No existing model predicts this behavior. Solar wind charge exchange X-rays are supposed to stay tight and compact, hugging the nucleus where gas density is highest. Once that gas spreads out, density drops fast, and the X-ray signal fades within tens of thousands of kilometers, not millions. Passive outgassing cannot produce a halo this massive, period. And then there's the shape, which raises even more red flags. This emission isn't smooth or spherical like standard solar wind interactions. It's asymmetric, displaced, and stretched into directions that shouldn't be producing X-rays at all. If solar wind were the cause, the brightest emission would line up along the Sun-comet axis where particle flux is strongest. That's basic physics. Instead, the structure is offset, pointing to energy injection coming from the object itself, not just external collisions. That's a serious problem for conventional explanations. And here's where denial falls apart completely. X-RISM wasn't alone. The research team mapped 3I/ATLAS's sky path from July through late November, and multiple X-ray observatories picked it up along the same trajectory. MAXI on the International Space Station saw it. Archived E-Rosita frames matched it. Optical field alignment confirmed the X-ray bump appeared exactly where 3I/ATLAS was located. That should never happen. Interstellar comets are too faint in X-rays to stand out against the Milky Way's background radiation. The galactic center floods the sky with emissions from hot gas, supernova remnants, and accreting black holes. Comets usually vanish into that noise. You definitely don't trace their movement across the sky like they're leaving a glowing trail. But 3I/ATLAS did exactly that. It didn't just flash once and disappear. As 3I/ATLAS moved from one observing field to another, telescopes kept catching it every single time. The X-ray signature stayed locked in, bright enough to track, stable enough to show up across multiple instruments, all with different sensitivities and energy ranges. That alone tells us something big. This isn't a short-lived flare or a one-off reaction. Whatever is driving this X-ray emission is sustained over time. The object is continuously generating or releasing energy at levels strong enough to register on instruments built to study the most extreme stuff in the universe. We're talking black holes, neutron stars, massive galaxy clusters. A 5-kilometer chunk of ice and rock is not supposed to appear on those same maps, yet 3I/ATLAS does. Now this is where unusual officially turns into physically unexplained. When researchers broke down the X-ray signal by energy, they expected background noise, maybe a weak solar reflection, nothing clean or organized. Instead, they found clear emission peaks lining up with carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen spectral lines. That's not random, that's structured. Chemically structured X-ray emission means this object isn't just glowing passively. It's producing X-rays through specific atomic processes tied to known elements. Normally, this happens through charge exchange. Fast-moving solar wind ions slam into neutral atoms in a comet's coma. Electrons swap places, and X-ray photons get released at precise energies. Carbon at 0.28 kiloelectron volts, nitrogen at 0.39 kiloelectron volts, oxygen at 0.53 kiloelectron volts. That mechanism works when a comet has a thick, dense atmosphere packed around its nucleus. But here's the problem. 3I/ATLAS is small, moving fast, around 30 kilometers per second relative to the Sun, and spectroscopic data showed very little gas production before perihelion. It should not have the atmospheric density needed to generate this kind of clean, structured X-ray signal. Yet the lines are right there: carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, standing out clearly above the background. Not just detected, but resolved with precision, confirming real atomic transitions, not instrument glitches. So now the options get uncomfortable. Either 3I/ATLAS is shedding material far more efficiently than its size and speed should allow. Or there's a mechanism at play that doesn't fit the rulebook we use for solar system comets at all. Maybe there are subsurface reservoirs releasing gas in concentrated bursts. Maybe the surrounding interstellar environment is denser than expected. Either way, this object is doing something it absolutely shouldn't be doing. That leaves one explanation nobody wants to touch. Either 3I/ATLAS is somehow creating charge exchange zones far away from its nucleus, or the X-rays aren't coming from passive gas and solar wind interactions at all. They're coming from active energy release by the object itself. Let's line this up clearly, because each detail alone is strange, but together they form a pattern that refuses to be classified. First, the halo size. A core surrounded by an X-ray halo 400,000 kilometers wide, extending nearly 3 million kilometers into space. No comet has ever produced emission zones like that through passive outgassing. Period. Next, persistence. This X-ray signature stayed visible from July through November, tracked across multiple X-ray telescopes. Comets do not leave behind month-long trackable X-ray footprints as they move across the sky. That's simply not how they behave. Then there's the spectrum. Carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen emission lines standing clearly above background noise. That requires either a dense gas environment or an entirely different energy mechanism. Passive sublimation doesn't cut it. Now look at the geometry. The emission is asymmetric, displaced, and not aligned with the Sun-comet axis. Standard solar wind models predict clean, symmetric patterns. This isn't symmetric, and it isn't random. And most important of all, this signal is sustained. Not a flare, not a burst, not a momentary spike. Continuous emission, strong enough to compete with the galactic X-ray background. Each anomaly alone stretches natural explanations. All of them together snap the rulebook in half. So now the options are uncomfortable. Either we're looking at the most extreme comet ever documented, an outlier so far beyond known parameters that it rewrites comet physics entirely, or we're not looking at a comet at all. Here's what should bother everyone. IXRISM just showed an interstellar object generating a 3 million kilometer X-ray halo, chemically structured, asymmetric, and traceable across the sky for months. And the mainstream reaction is what? Interesting behavior? More study needed? No! This is not interesting comet behavior. This is physically anomalous behavior that doesn't fit any existing model. Comets don't do this. Asteroids don't do this. And if interstellar object is now a category that includes X-ray emission zones twice the diameter of the Sun, then we need to stop pretending we understand what we're looking at. The data is forcing us toward two conclusions. Either 3 I/ATLAS represents comet physics pushed to the absolute edge of possibility, every parameter maxed out at once. Or it represents something we don't have a classification for yet. Something that emits energy instead of merely reflecting it. Something that tears through our solar system while leaving behind a 3 million kilometer trail of high-energy X-rays is not business as usual. So what do you think is really powering that halo? Extreme outgassing pushed to insane levels? A dense interstellar medium interaction nobody accounted for? Or an internal energy source doing the heavy lifting? Drop your theory in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe to the StellarDrift channel, and share this video, because when an object lights up the X-ray sky like a neutron star, calling it just a comet isn't science. It's denial. I'll see you on the next one.